Hey, we're going to tune guitars here. To set them up, first thing you always want to do is check the neck. Every guitar wants a forward relief in the neck. The best way to check it is use your string as a strat edge. I hold it at the first fret, and generally where it meets the body, and I tap in the middle. And there should be a gap in the center ranging from the thickness of possibly a business card to a thin pick. If that needs to be adjusted, you have to use a truss rod wrench. Clockwise, turning the adjustment screw will bring the neck backwards. Conversely, going counterclockwise will allow it to go forward until you get the ideal relief. Okay, next I'm going to remove the strings. String crank expedites the process, so if you have one, by all means use it, or other than that, you're going to get some tired wrists by the time you're done. When I remove the strings, I'm leaving the holes perpendicular to the length of the neck for the ease of putting the new ones on. If you need me to slow down, let me know, or back up or reiterate at any point, I'll be glad to. Okay, next I'm going to remove the strings. You have to take the bridge pins out in order to do that. I just use a little pair of end cutters very gently. And I've developed I'm not going to cut the head off it because I've done this for so long. Just enough. It works the fastest for me because it's a tool that I have at hand. Although most of the string stretchers or string winders do have one in there. All right, we remove the strings. Next, what we want to do is check if they're a geared die-cast tuning machine. This generally isn't a major problem, but make sure that those are tight. This is the one you want to be concerned with. These should be just snug. In fact, feel that one. That's a little loose, Chris.
Yeah,
feel
okay.
the D string.
Yeah.
And the ones of the major concern are not the E, A, and D on the top. The ones that you have to be concerned of, it's a small Phillips screwdriver that tightens them up. The bottom ones are the ones of concern, because if it comes loose, the little screw will vibrate out very slowly, and the next thing you know, it's falling on the floor someplace, and the tuning button is falling off, and trying to find them is a bit of a task. So that's the next thing to check. Okay, we're going to lay out our strings here, put them on. I like Diodario strings. There's no rights or wrongs. Any place that tells you right or wrong is lying, because this is an art form. It's what serves the person best. But through my experience, I found these to be the most consistent and popular amongst all the people I deal with, which is generally a good indication.
Yeah.
All right, to put the strings on, the bridge pin basically doesn't hold the string, and it does hold the string up, but to hold it, you need the ball end to come up alongside of it. If the bridge pin's pulling out, it's stuck underneath. Sometimes you have to make a gentle bend, and again, be careful, it's a brittle wire, and if you bend it too far, it will crack. So you put the string in the hole, there's a groove slot, put the groove facing the fingerboard. Press down gently, pull up. When it doesn't come out, these do not have to be seated in there real firmly. If you press those in there too hard, it's the equivalent of taking a wedge to split firewood. You'll end up splitting the bridge. A lot of people, when they're doing it, they have the string coming out, and they think, oh, I'm not pressing this in far enough, but that's not the case. What holds the string in is the ball end and the peg have to be alongside each other, and they're both at that point, they're too large to come out of the hole. So put in the string, pull it, if you feel it come up, and it's without popping out, that's it, it's seated. Move on. I think I described that adequately, right?
Oh, yeah.
Post this on YouTube, and then I will offer national clinics for the feet. Okay, strings are seated. Now, I'm going to put the strings on up here. Have them left, the holes perpendicular to their neck. That's the ideal situation to put them on, because on a 3+3 headstock, they come from the inside out. You start with your strings closest to the nut. That way you're not working with the string in your way. You get a free rein at it, inside out. Then you want about hand's height in the middle of the fingerboard. Now, here's the big trick. I make 2 right angle bends to seat the string, and then I'm going to take the loose end around, under, make sure it's snug around it, and then back over. This pull, the way it's wrapped, the harder it pulls on itself. There's no slippage, yet it's still easy enough to remove. Then I'm going to keep some tension on the string and wind downward. You always want to wind downward if you can with a tuning machine, because you want downward tension on the nut there, which gives you a better tone. Okay, we're going to repeat this process 5 more times on this guitar from the inside out. Hands height. 2 bends, around, under, back over. Then wind downward, keeping tension on the string. Neatness counts, and these are all things that add up to a guitar that stays and plays down. The hands height, okay, working my way out from the inside out. Hands height gives you approximately 2.5 turns around the tuning machine, which is all you really need. Any more than that, you're asking for trouble. You know, I've seen people they don't have the clippers, and they'll put the whole string on there, and it looks like a bird's nest, and then they wonder why their guitar never stays in tune because it's continually slipping over each other. All right, tension, wound, wind down. I'm going to repeat the process on the other side. Mirror image, starting with the one closest, the high E, from the inside out. Now the big trick here is you make your 2 bends and that seats the string. Now I'm just sliding my left hand up to momentarily grasp the end of the string and pass it back to my right hand to get it under. Then I take it over. Now that's your thinnest string, and I can pick this guitar up and it's not going to slip. I mean, if you had a heavy enough guitar, the string may crack and it'll drop, but it's still easy to take off. The worst thing I've seen is when somebody threads it through the hole 2 or 3 times, thinking that, because the plain strings are prone to slippage, but that makes it really difficult to take the other string off because it's poked through there, several times, and you end up poking holes in your finger. Okay, moving outward. B string, inside out, hands height, 2 bends, around, under, back over. That's it. That's simple. Tension, I generally stretch it between my thumb and my index finger and guide it downward, trying to keep each course of wraps butt up against the one above it, leaving, because the post on the tuning machine is tapered, and they will push up gently, but you'd like them butt up against each other because they will move a little bit. Another thing that can cause tuning problems. Inside out, hands height, 2 bends, around, under, back over. Stretching the string, winding it down. Next up I do, and unfortunately you can't buy these any longer, are string stretchers. You can get them, but now they're incorporated into the same feature as a string stretcher. This is just a curved piece of nylon that I'm running along the length of the string to take out the stretch. They're still, going to go out of tune a little bit. A guitar always has to be tuned every time you play it due to weather conditions, etc. But this eliminates another potential slippage area. Once I've done this, then I'm going to do the final seating of the string. Always wrap your hand around the fingerboard up here by the nut, because if you give it a tug and don't, you can't crack the corner of this off just by pulling it. So I put my hand there, and then what I do is you feel it almost reach the end of its limit there, and that seats it at both ends. Now, last step is tuning it. This is my new favorite tuner, which is now hit the ground, but it survived, as most rock and roll equipment does. Okay. When tuning a guitar, always go from below the target pitch up to it, because if you go above and come down, you'll get what's called backlash, and that will gently creep down on you until your guitar goes out of tune. So always from below up to pitch. I don't know if that holds true for horns or anything, but definitely for guitar.
Any stringed instrument.
Did I explain the relief in the neck? Yes, we did that, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay.